Thank you very much, Program Director, Honorable Minister of Health and Childcare, Dr. Douglas Mombeshora, Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Dr. Emerson Dambuzo Mnangagwa, Minister of State, Honorable Richard Moyo. I wish to greet all ministers and vice ministers from PPD member states together with the PCCs gathered in this room. I wish to acknowledge the United Nations Resident and Humanitarian Coordinator for Zimbabwe, Mr. Edward Kalon. I wish to acknowledge the Regional Director for the United Nations Population Fund, Ms. Lydia Zigomo, and her team from the UNFPA. Dr. Dennis Nkala, the representative from the United Nations Office on South-South Coordination. The Zimbabwe National Health Planning Council Board Chairperson, Professor Stanzia Moyo, and the other board members represented here this morning. Partners in Population and Development Officer in Charge, Mr. Oliver Zombuko and his team from PPD. All African and United Nations bodies represented here, members of the Diplomatic Corps, partners and stakeholders of Partners in Population and Development, all protocol observed. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Salibonani. Nivugenjani. Mangwanani. Mamukasei. Thank you. I bring greetings from the people and the government of the Republic of South Africa as led by His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa. I am speaking on behalf of the Honorable Minister of Social Development of the Republic of South Africa and the Chairperson of the Partners in Population Development, Honorable Ms. Lindiwe Zulu, who has just landed and is on her way here. Program Director, allow me to thank His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, President Mnangagwa, for inviting the Partners in Population Development to jointly convene this 20th International Ministerial Conference on South-South and Triangular Cooperation in Population and Development right here in the beautiful city of Victoria Falls in partnership with the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe and the UNFPA. Over the next 2 days, we look forward to a high-level consultation leading up to the ICPD at 30, and this meeting will culminate with the adoption of a declaration that will serve as a call to action for all of us as we head to the ICPD at 30 next year. We will reflect on the commitments made in the Nairobi Summit of 2019. This Inter-Ministerial Conference is held at the juncture when the world is approaching the observation of the 30th anniversary of the adoption of the Program of Action of the Inter-Ministerial Conference on Population and Development, and coincidentally the 30th anniversary of the formation of PPD, which will be in 2024. Program Director, Your Excellency, President, last year also marked a crucial moment in the history of humanity when the world's population reached 8 billion, which has implications for development of people around the world. This exacerbated the need to speedily improve their quality of life and of all humanity, especially the global south and more so here in sub-Saharan Africa. The world is facing multiple critical catastrophes, such as the lingering effects of the pandemic, which affected the world socially, economically, and otherwise, ongoing conflicts, natural disasters as a result of intensifying climate change, as well as slow global economic growth resulting in high levels of unemployment, poverty, and inequality. Program Director, many developing countries are reporting challenges in meeting the Sustainable Development Goals. And as the Global South, we must intensify our efforts to consolidate our collective efforts in galvanizing support for each other, together with our development partners, in sharing best practices and ensuring that no one is left behind. The United Nations Secretary General's recent report highlighted that the globe is only about 15% on track in meeting the SDG targets by 2030, meaning that the majority of these targets are either stagnated or we have completely regressed. This is indeed a cause for concern. Over the next 2 days, we shall review many of the gains we have recorded, whilst also frankly reflecting on the gaps and challenges in the implementation of the Nairobi commitments, the ICPD Plan of Action, and indeed the SDG Agenda of 2030. We will embark upon future strategies and priority actions to be taken to finish the unfinished business of our ICPD agenda. This meeting therefore presents an opportunity for us all to review what works and what does not work, and to reinvigorate our efforts to meeting these important targets. Program Director, we should acknowledge the achievements made by PPD through South-South and triangular cooperation in responding to and recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic through knowledge sharing and experience sharing, policy dialogue, personal training, technology transfers, expert assistance, medical equipment supply, and indeed vaccine donations. I would like to acknowledge with appreciation the great contribution made by the UNFPA, the UN Office on South-South Cooperation, the World Health Organization, and other UN and African agencies and international organizations in supporting South-South triangular cooperation, particularly for supporting the efforts in improving maternal and child health and reproductive health in responding to and recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. Program Director, we should also recognize that young people played a vital role as frontline responders in the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. We should similarly be concerned that young people are amongst the seriously affected populations by the pandemic in many aspects of their lives, and the need for adolescent reproductive health services has been successfully met, and it was even worsened by the pandemic. It is therefore incumbent upon us all to redouble our efforts to invest in measures that will deliver the demographic dividend in developing countries, where youth employment rates are stubbornly high. That should include measures to ensure that all children are able to attend school, that young people have access to further education and training and skills development, as well as reasonable prospects to find employment or to employ themselves productively. It is my conviction that addressing the demographic dividend is the key to drive economic growth and achieve sustainable development, and we should therefore take concrete action to build family-friendly and people-centered societies, particularly in countries where fertility is falling and the population is aging, by providing needed healthcare services, nursery facilities, community support, tax reform, and social security schemes to increase people's well-being and promote family development in the country. And as governments, we cannot do this alone. We require social compacting with all sectors of society, as well as South-South collaboration. As I conclude, Honorable Minister, I wish to encourage multiple resource mobilization for South-South and triangular cooperation, including third-party cost-sharing, parallel financing, and in-kind contributions, which have proven to be feasible and effective in the past decades amongst PPD member states. I would like to specifically call on the PPD and its member countries to innovate approaches and adopt strategies of resource mobilization for South-South and triangular cooperation in the changing world. Let's increase targeted advocacy to key stakeholders, key decision makers, and popularize the work of PPD as an important vehicle in helping countries of the South in meeting their SDGs. We therefore call on global development partners and governments to make long-term and predictable development financing towards this cause. I wish you all a fruitful and successful 20th International Ministerial Conference. I thank you.